Letter C. How high was the archer above the ground at the top of the cliff when she released the arrow? Now this one is a clever question. Okay? Now to find the height of the archer above the ground, we have to look at the point wherein the arrow started shooting. Okay? The arrow was started for the shooting. Okay, so this is here. So what is this point? What is this point? We have x is equal to 0, and this point is just the half of 10. So the answer would be, what is our y? Y at 0 is equal to 5 meters. So this means that the archer, okay, the archer released the arrow at 5 meters above the ground. Okay, now we go to another question. This is letter D. Why can you say that altitude is a function of time? Why is time not a function of altitude? Remember that we are getting the altitude here as time passes by. Well, you cannot change in a realistic sense, in a sensible manner. In a sensible manner, you cannot change the position of the arrow just to, make it a function of time. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is that t, for example, t is equal to 1 second. In this case, our x is equal to, okay, let us make this more accurate. Okay, at x is equal to 1 second, which is our time, our y, or the height of the arrow, is already at 20 meters. Now at x is equal to 2 seconds, you can see that the arrow already reached its maximum height of 25 meters. And when x is equal to 3 seconds, your arrow, okay, is equivalent to when you release it after 1 second, that's 20 meters. Now what I'm trying to say is your altitude is a function of time, because for every time that passes by from 1 second to 3 seconds, you get a value of y, not the other way around. You cannot change y. You can change y is equal to 50 and then get time. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. Is equal to here. That's ridiculous. That's why we cannot say that that time is a function of altitude. It's not possible. Okay? And another way to explain here is that your time is your independent variable. It doesn't, the height of the arrow depended on the time that passed by from when it was released. So that is a sensible explanation to this question. Okay, now moving on. What is the domain of the function? What is the corresponding range? To find the domain, as I've told you, or as I've explained in lesson 1-1, the first lecture, the first part of the lecture, you have to look at the x values to find the domain. Now the x values would start from the time it is released to the time that the arrow landed on the cliff, okay, below the ground. So our domain here would be from 0 second to, this is approximately 5.4 seconds. Okay, that's our domain. For the range, our range here, the corresponding range or the corresponding height, the independent variables height or y values would be, just look from the highest point going to the lowest point. So this would be our range. This would be the domain. So our range here would be from -30 going to 25, the maximum height of the arrow when it was released by the archer. So in writing range, you always have to start from the negative part or from the lower part. Okay, from the lower part, because remember our real number line starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, and then on the left side we have -1, -2, -3. So the writing of the intervals of the range and domain should always start from the smallest. Look at this, from the smallest to the largest, from the smallest to the largest. So this explains how to get the domain and range of our example here. And thanks for watching and listening.